the country in these challenging times. Our daily routines have changed dramatically over these past weeks. As we have said to our team, we share the same message to all of you. Please understand the following guidelines of social distancing. We ask that everyone please wash your hands often. Stay at home if at all possible. And when you have to be out in public, make sure you keep 6 feet between you and the nearest person. We are in this together, and as one team, we will get through these difficult times. And together, we look forward to all that's to come, like the opportunity to play college football this fall. But the best and safest way to ensure that happens is to listen to the experts, follow their guidelines, and take care of each other. Stay safe and roll Tide.
Football season never ends on Talk Football with Coach K.
Stidham is tearing it up at New England. He may well be the incumbent to Tom Brady there.
Former head coach of the Buffalo Bills, Coach K brings his expertise as he breaks down the game, the players, the coaches, and the front office. Plus, high-profile interviews from the biggest names in football. Talk Football with Coach K every weekday from noon till 1 on ESPN Pensacola, 1330 FM 99.1.
My grades were bad.
I appeared to be doing good at my school life, but if you would see me at home, it would have been a completely different story.
I mean, it was just rough focusing on school when your mother is somebody you have to take care of.
There are students who need somebody.
Communities in Schools is helping more than 1.3 million kids get whatever they need to succeed in school. You can help change the picture of education at communitiesinschools.org.
I hear people say we can't save every kid, but I think that we can.
JP here. At ESPN Pensacola, we are hometown proud. We love our hometown heroes like Super Bowl champion Seattle Seahawk Doug Baldwin.
They fake, the lob, wide open, touchdown, Doug Baldwin.
Bigger body than Wilson likes to throw to, big target. Here's Baldwin, smaller target, and he ducks in for the touchdown.
Hi, this is Doug Baldwin, and you're listening to ESPN Pensacola.
This is ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM and 99.1 FM, the only local station that talks sports 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. From Gullick and Wingo to the Sports Drive with Chad Brillante. Plus talk football with Coach K at noon, sports call every Saturday. If you'd like to partner with us as an advertiser or a promotional partner, just give us a call at 262-6000.
You're listening to ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. All sports, all the time. WEBY, Milton, Pensacola.
The following has been produced by Talk Football LLC. Former Florida Gators quarterback, NFL quarterback, and NFL head coach. Coach K. Stevenson has a resume second to none, and now he's sharing his insider information with you. Talk Football with Coach K starts right now on ESPN Pensacola.
Welcome back to Talk Football with Coach K. JP here with you alongside former NFL head coach K. Stevenson on this Friday afternoon. The weekend's right around the corner. Hope you're doing well. Appreciate you tuning in to us right here. Listen, everything going on right now in the tropics, keep your eye on it. I'm sure you are. But listen, as we always start off our show, we want to continue to do this as well. We want to thank our first responders and healthcare workers at this time. It goes without saying, obviously, when you talk about what's been going on with the pandemic, things are crazy, to say the very least, but it's been great to hear the support from those first responders and healthcare workers from the community. I think it's important. These people are out there each and every day, but they've been highlighted because of this pandemic. Just a big shout out. If you're listening and you're one of those right now, we'll appreciate you tuning in. Hopefully we can give you a little bit of break of whatever's going on right now in your life. We're going to talk some football. We have a ton to get to, but one more thing before we get started here. Grocery store employees, truck drivers, all the essential workers out there. If you're a restaurant, I know today bars and other things can open up as well. A lot of support we get from those places downtown and around the area. We have a lot of great people that run those businesses. It's awesome just to see that they're able to open up now, but remember, continue to practice your social distancing. But thank you to those essential workers putting themselves out there each and every day for us as we seem to get back to a little bit more normalcy, whatever that may mean in this life right now. But you know what? Before we get into some football stuff, Coach, how are you doing today, my friend?
I'm doing well, JP, and I certainly second any thanks that we send out to first responders and essential workers out there. They go above and beyond, and we're very grateful for them.
Absolutely, Coach, and of course, our sponsors as well. We thank them so much for what they do in the community, and for allowing us to bring you Talk Football right here. Just we can give you an hour, a little separation of whatever's going on in the world. There's plenty, but we're going to talk some football. And Coach, I want to start off here. Elephant in the room. No pun intended on this. Actually, that was actually pretty good. I'll give it. But anyway, University of Alabama had 5 football players that tested positive for COVID-19. Now, these players, about 40 or 50 of them, got together the other day and worked out. Of course, as teams are starting to phase in players, we've seen University of Florida even go back to May 26th, bringing players in to start doing physicals and testing and things like that. The one thing with this is, I will say this, and this is my personal opinion, Coach, on this, but people don't freak out on this. This is something that, players are going to test positive. It's going to happen. I think that's the important part of the reason we have the testing for this. These players are being quarantined. Precautions are being taken. Guys will get through this. This is going to be the new norm. That's why I said before, I think it's so important for these guys to get back to the schools as soon as possible so we can move through this stage here. And you know what, Coach? I don't think it's a big surprise. But, for some people out there, I just want to say, listen, everybody take a deep breath. There's going to be more of this. We're going to have to find – it's how teams react to this of if we can move forward in college football.
Yeah, this is no surprise at all. In fact, I'm surprised they're not more of the kids that may have tested positive. Think about it now, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21-year-old kids that keep them in a house, totally quarantined, totally away from other people, is almost impossible. It's just there's too much energy there. There's too much. I know when we were all younger, we didn't think there's anything that could hurt us, and may have taken chances in cars and other things that shouldn't have done. But I have no doubt that they were out and about and exposed to this virus, unfortunately, because it's very contagious. So 5, that's not too bad. And like we said before, they're much better off. They're much safer in a college campus atmosphere where they can have their own dorm, their place to be quarantined if they do test positive and get over it. And certainly the medical attention would be the best that they could hope for, and it's just a good situation for them to be back. And 5 tested positive. I wouldn't be too upset about that. I think it's to be expected that some of these kids were going to test positive, and we're going to maybe have a few more here as we go along. So anyway, overall, it's good news.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's where people can swing it whatever way they want to, but I think that's why it's the drastic thing would have been if we're not testing here, bringing players back, and then this becomes a tremendous outbreak on teams, and then college football overall. That's where it's a positive. I'm not saying it's a positive these guys tested positive for COVID-19. What I am saying is it's the point of the precautions that are being taken. And, Coach, we're seeing another team in Notre Dame coming out, of course, the other day, I believe it was this morning, talking about their players will live in a hotel this summer. Now, this is, of course, until the season starts, but right now it's an on-campus. I want to make that clear. It's an on-campus hotel. Didn't really know. I looked it up. The Morris Inn, which it's a 3-star hotel. If you want to go stay, well, you're probably not going to be able to get a room now, but it's about $150 a night right there in South Bend. But they're bringing all 90 players. They'll be quarantined for a week at the Morris Inn ahead of voluntary workouts that begin June 22nd. Once again, the reason I say this, and they said the workouts will be in groups with no more than 10 players. They'll be spaced out, but 10 players at a time. Coach, the reason I bring this up is because this is, like I said, the new norm. Teams are getting interesting. They're getting creative in the way that they're going about things with this. So I want people to understand that these teams are not coming back if they don't have a plan. And if you follow college football pretty close, you understand this. We're seeing some of the things that are going on. You read the articles every day, just like we do. But I do want to make it clear that these teams they do have precautions in place. But, Coach, with that being said, look, NCAA President Mark Emmert came out, and he said, look, the possibility still exists that some schools won't play this year which obviously would create a logistical scheduling nightmare. But you know what, Coach? When you hear that coming from Mark Emmert here, talking about teams may not be able to play, do you think that would ruin college football this year, depending on what level it is?
No, I don't. And I think they could say all they want, and they're probably right to some extent. I think the big boys are going to play. The major colleges will play football. I think there's going to be a difference from state to state. I'm certain of that. And there will be political pressure put on these schools for certain things. I think some of the mid-range, the smaller schools who don't have the logistics available to them, the logistical capabilities, put it that way, available to them, it's going to be much more difficult. And it's going to be very difficult for those that are in a position of having to play college football, just to have enough money to have a sports program. And if they have to have a drastic reduction in ticket sales, there are going to be some schools that may not play. I'm not totally surprised at that. Now, as far as the scheduling is concerned, especially the larger schools have played through all this and have looked at all of these scenarios and who may and who may not be forced, who may play and who may be forced to take a different avenue. And they've looked at scheduling, either not playing certain games or scheduling other teams that may be left in the lurch. So I think you're going to see this play out pretty well. There won't be too many. There won't be too many schools that won't play, JP. I really believe that. But if it does happen, don't be surprised.
Yeah, I agree. And, Coach, the reason I brought that up is because I don't want people to get fearful and automatically revert back to the old ways of, oh, no, here, college football's gone. You hear Mark Emmert say that there's going to be teams not playing. It's going to be tough. I think it goes back to what Dan Mullen said. We're going to have to understand that flexibility is going to be a part of this year. You got to be flexible. There's going to have to be some last-minute decisions being made on some things and moving forward, because this is going to affect people differently. And listen, it comes down to, look, some states, pretty much most of the states have opened up. Some states haven't opened up yet, but we'll see what happens there. But, Coach, with that being said, the NFL, of course, today the coaches will be allowed to return to team facilities. When we talk about this, the players are still not allowed back, and this is going to be along the lines of waiting for all the states to open up. The NFL said that they will not allow players back until every single state opens up. But, Coach, we know a great friend of the show, a tremendous friend of yours, Jim Haslett, the inside linebackers coach there for the Tennessee Titans. I know we talked about it yesterday a little bit, but have you heard anything different from him on the opening up of facilities starting today?
No, I haven't. I think they're proceeding as though they're going to try to get back on the schedule. I think that's where they know the NFL is going to put them anyway, which is not a bad situation. They're not going to be able to bring players in, at least a number of them in at one time right now. I think you're looking at players showing up for camp. That's what I think they're looking at. They don't take any additional chances that they don't have to take. Get the offices open, the coaches working, and that type of thing. Pretty soon now, it's going to be vacation time. Remember, these guys have been working. These coaches have been working, even though it's been a little different with virtual, through Zoom and virtual communication. But there will be some vacation time coming up for players and coaches. And for players, it's mandated through the CBA, collective bargaining agreement. So they're not going to be able to bring them in anyway until camp, JP. So I predict that players will come in. It's not like college. Colleges are bringing some of them in now, and primarily for physicals and testing and that type of thing. That's not going to be the case for the NFL. They'll bring them in. Maybe they'll get a few days, a couple of days, 2 or 3 days before camp so they can do proper testing for the virus and that type of thing. But Anyway, I predict they'll come in camp and they'll start on time with the NFL.
Yeah, I think it's important, too, that you mentioned that as well. And listen, Haslett come on the show last week and talked to us about the virtual side of things and how it's worked. I thought that was very interesting just because a lot of people hear that, but they don't know what goes into it and how, some guys have really taken to it. And remember, some guys are virtual learners when you see it like that. Some guys have to physically be there and walk through, and a lot of guys learn better that way. Me, I was more of I could watch film and pick things apart, but I had teammates that were different, and that's where it gets interesting. But I think the NFL has done a good job with the whole virtual offseason for what it is. I'm not saying it will ever replace anything we've ever seen with the regular offseason, but nonetheless, Coach, with that being said, Patriots quarterback Jarrett Stidham, look, just bring this up real quick. Of course, the other day they saw him with 6 other teammates gathered at a private football field for their work, focused intently on, obviously, they were following their social distancing guidelines. But interesting enough, Brian Hoyer was in this group, Julian Edelman, Demir Bird, Gunnar Olszewski, more of those guys like that were there. This is something that we see. A lot of these guys have done it. Tom Brady's done it. A lot of other quarterbacks have done it as well. This is just a way that, the NFL doesn't let them back in their facilities, but this is okay as long as they practice social distancing. I don't want people thinking anything other, but this is a good sign. I think it's important, and the reason I bring it up is because Stidham is the guy right now that, of course, it seems like the biggest question mark because all the success that the Patriots have had for so many years, all this pressure is now on Jarrett Stidham. And, Coach, you've made it very clear. You believe that the Patriots are not going to put the ball in Stidham's hands to force him to win them the football game. And but on the other side of that, I just think it's good to see Stidham getting up there. A lot of people said that he has been preparing for this moment for quite some time, even back into college. But, Coach, I just think it's a good sign to see him out there. And he's the one that organized this group to get together. So if you're a Patriot fan, you got to be excited at what you're seeing.
Yeah, and let me be clear on something. This came up yesterday. I was on a conference call with some friends of mine, and somebody brought up. They said, are you saying that you feel certain that Jared Stidham is going to be the quarterback at New England? And I said, let me clarify exactly what I'm saying. I think that is the probability. It's certainly a good possibility, if you want to put it there. I'm not saying that he's absolutely going to be the starter, but I am saying that he does have a number of skills. He checks the box on the physical aspect of the position as well as the mental. He fits the mode of a Belichick quarterback turnover, move from one thing to another. He's a guy they brought in, 4th round. Brady was the 6th round. They knew about his potential. They knew about his talent before they ever drafted him. You can bet on that. And I'm sure that Belichick saw a kid that could eventually blossom into a productive NFL quarterback. Now, if they bring him along slow, which they can afford to do, and I think that you saw the draft, for example, move to shore up that defense even more, even though they played very, very well last year. I think they added quite a bit of speed to their defense, that in anticipation of major competition with Kansas City, and because they're going to probably count on their defense more so than ever this year. But I think really that there's a good possibility that Stidham is going to be the quarterback. I'm not saying that that's cast in stone yet, but there is a very good possibility he will be the quarterback there. And I think it fits with Belichick's MO, and he will probably do. My guess is that he will do a good job based on what they ask him to do.
Yeah, I think that's important. And, of course, nobody is comparing, let's make this very clear, Jarrett Stidham to Tom Brady in any aspect of anything, because that's the one thing as I hear people talking about, oh, so you think he's just going to replace Tom Brady? Well, yeah, if you're talking about at the quarterback position, but not as the person and the player that Brady was. It's a different style here.
Right.
And let's not compare anybody outside of maybe the Mannings and guys like this. but you can't compare what Brady was when he was just a pure winner. I mean, the rings speak for themselves, and just talk to his teammates. This is a guy that is as gritty as can be, and one of the special players that we may never see another guy truly like a Tom Brady, because we bring up Peyton Manning's and stuff in conversation, but they weren't on the level when you truly break it down for like a guy like Tom Brady. When you're talking about the mindset, I think that's where Brady steps ahead of so many other people. But with that being said, Coach, I want to talk about another quarterback that everybody around here knows him, Tua Tagovailoa. And why are we talking about him? Well, Bruce Arians, of all people. Of course, Bruce Arians is in the news. That's where he likes to be. But look, Bruce Arians came out, and we know that, the Dolphins have 3 quarterbacks right now that they could play. When you're talking about Josh Rosen's there, you've got Tua. Ryan Fitzpatrick seems to be the starter right now, but we'll see what happens. But Bruce Arians came out and said, listen, if he's healthy, I'm playing him from day one. And the reason I bring this up, that's not a surprising comment from Bruce Arians. The comment is, I don't think you learned anything holding a clipboard, Arians added. I had Peyton Manning his first year, Andrew Luck his first year. Ben Roethlisberger was one of those guys that went in by accident because Tommy Maddox got hurt. You miss all the practice reps. You miss the game reps. I don't know what you learn holding a clipboard watching. Coach, I deflect this to you. You've coached and you've played at the highest level. Do you agree or disagree with that statement from Bruce Arians?
Well, I think there's a happy medium there, to be honest with you. And I do think that when they feel that Tua is ready to play, he's been totally cleared medically, and he's doing the things that the medical team would expect a player cleared of that potential further injury, and he's putting the ball on the mark like he usually does, and he's won the players' respect. At that point, I think he's going to play. Now, it may not be the very first of the season. They may want him to. And Fitzpatrick, keep in mind, is a good mentor. He's a good guy to have there to play the first 2 or 3 ball games and have Tua get a feel for it and then bring him on. I think that would be the ideal situation. I do think, and I've said this all along, I think regardless of what they say, you're going to see Tua playing this year at some point. It may be game 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I don't know. That may be games 2 or 3. But I do think at some point you're going to see him in there and as the starter for the Miami Dolphins.
Yeah, I agree. I think I have said that I believe he would play about middle of the year, but we'll see what happens. And that's the one thing with this year in NFL, just outside of NFL overall, we don't know what in the world is going to happen. We don't know how things are going to look, games are going to look. But if Tua's healthy, I think that another thing is remember the fans. The fans can speak a lot on this as well. But we'll see what happens. I think, look, I actually have a little faith in what Brian Flores and those guys are doing down there. They've had a good offseason. They actually played a lot better than what anybody – depleting just about all their talent last year, and that they were able to win as many games as they were and look as good as they were at times. But, look, I think, of course, when you look at Tua, everybody wants to see him play regardless. So I think you will see him next year, but anyway, we'll all pump the brakes on that and see what happens. Coach, we got to take a quick break. When we come back here, look, Athlon Sports has released their SEC Football 2020 All-Conference team. Some names on it may surprise you, maybe a little bit of people on the hype train for a certain guy here. We'll talk about the 247 ACC Football Power Rankings as well. And look, Devonta Freeman telling the Bucs to reach out to him after Bruce Arians said his price was too high. Well, maybe Devonta Freeman wants to win a little bit. We'll talk about all that and more when we come back right here on Talk Football with Coach K on ESPN Pensacola.
I'm attorney Stephen Luongo with Levin, Papantonio, Thomas, Mitchell, Rafferty, and Proctor in Pensacola, Florida. Distracted driving is a dangerous epidemic on America's roadways. In 2016 alone, over 3,000 people were killed in motor vehicle crashes involving distracted drivers. This according to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. For more information, please visit us today online at levinlaw.com. Please be safe on the roadways. Stop the text, stop the wrecks.
When you're looking for a great deal on a reliable new or certified pre-owned vehicle, you can't beat Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola. Bob Tyler Toyota has the best selection in town at incredible low prices. You can check out their amazing inventory from Camrys to Tundra trucks to 4Runners. It's all at Bob Tyler Toyota, and you can find it online at bobtylertoyota.com. Also score a touchdown this football season with the car of your dreams. Again, it's only at Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola.
Hello, sports fans. Miles Bentley here, General Manager at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram in Pensacola. Growing up, I always loved sports. Nothing but net, out of the park, through the uprights. Sink the puck Bentley, that was me. But my love of the game couldn't beat my love for Pensacola and helping folks get on the road of dreams in a new Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Sure, I never went to the big leagues in sport, but we're all pro here at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Proud to be in Pensacola.
Sometimes your bank, your family, and your friends love you, but they don't have the money to help you. Sometimes we have chances to make money, but the old saying, you've got to have money to make money, rings true. At Pensacola Specialty Pond, we can help. If you have trucks, heavy equipment, airplanes, boats, jet skis, anything with value, Pensacola Specialty Pond can loan you that short-term money you need. No credit checks, and at Pensacola Specialty Pond, you're going to find the money and the discretion you need.
Now at 6428 Pensacola Boulevard, north of Car City. Call 432-9050, 432-9050.
What's up, Chad here from the Sports Drive. Well, no sports to talk about. March Madness canceled, every major sport, so maybe you get to spend some more time around your family. Oh, what? Not supposed to touch anybody? Well, just go home and watch Price is Right. But if you are older, you have a better chance of getting it. Right, Mike Gundy? Oh, 40? You should be all right. And he won't be broadcasting sports, but one guy that feels the same way we all do with no sports, probably Joe Buck.
Oh, gosh. Oh, man. Oh, my goodness.
Sports Drive 5 to 7 with no sports.
The thought of my sons growing up without me inspired me to quit smoking.
I talked to my doctors, and then I threw away all my cigarettes, ashtrays, and lighters.
I started exercising instead of smoking.
Staying away from alcohol when I was first quitting was key.
I kept on trying, learned something each time.
Do whatever it takes.
No matter how many times it takes.
We did it, so can you.
For free help, call 1-800-QUIT-NOW. A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and CDC.
There's only one name in town when it comes to afternoon local sports talk. The Sports Drive with Chad Brilliante.
Some athletes don't want to be given... nobody does. Now, look, when you play with your pops as he gets older, one of the most embarrassing things... My daughter's 3. I just slam it right in her face right at the play school hoop. Oh, like right there, like I'm Zion Williamson.
The games, the players, the fans. ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
You can watch Coach K talk football live right now on our YouTube channel at ESPN Pensacola 1330.
Welcome back to Talk Football with Coach K. JP here with you, alongside former NFL head coach Kay Stevenson. On this Friday afternoon, hope you're doing well. Weekend's right around the corner. Things are opening back up. Got plenty going on this weekend around our area as well. Look, Coach, we're talking some football here as always. Athlon Sports, if you look, they released their college football preview magazine. If you haven't gotten a chance to look at it, we'll go pick one up. I'm sure every bookstore, maybe grocery store has it as well. It's always a great read. It's always a must-have. I know I get it every single year. Even though a lot of these things you can read online, there is some information in those magazines you can't miss. Plus, I just collect them. I love them. I love going back and reading some of the old ones as well. But they released their, of course, 2020 All-SEC Conference team here. Coach, when you look at this, look, no surprise, Alabama and Georgia have 13 selections. Now, there are multiple teams, first team, second team, things like that. I'll make that clear. 13 selections by both Alabama and Georgia, followed by Florida with 11. Auburn and Texas A&M have 10, and then LSU, Tennessee, and Kentucky each have 9 picks. So starting off here, the reason this is, some of these names are obvious, but the big name atop the list, and Coach, I asked you before the show who you thought it would be, and we both agree on who we thought it would be. But Jamie Newman is the first team offense right there, quarterback for all SEC team. Coach, there's a lot of hype on a young man that hasn't taken a snap in the SEC and then had okay numbers at Wake Forest. I'm not saying he's not a good player. He may be as good as advertised, but, Coach, we don't even know if he's going to be the starter at Georgia.
I'll tell you, we need to find out his formula for advance notice. I mean, what this guy has done to deserve this and be preseason first-team quarterback. I'll tell you, the guy I would put first-team quarterback in the SEC is Trask right now from Florida.
I agree.
That's not a prejudicial statement because I went to the University of Florida. It's quite frankly because he is the most productive quarterback coming back in a stable situation. Coaches, same system. Here comes a guy from Wake Forest who played in the ACC and didn't have anywhere near the numbers that other quarterbacks in the nation had. And he comes in, and all of a sudden he's preseason first team. I can't buy it. I can't buy it at all. Like I said, we need to find out what his secret is, what his formula is, and we could all use it.
Coach, I agree with you on that. I think, once again, a lot of hype on a young man. Listen, he's a good player. We're not saying that. But even with Wake Forest last year, struggled at times mightily, especially. And once again, I know I went back and I watched the film against him against Clemson because I don't care if you're beating up on the low teams. I understand the ACC's not strong. Try to give this guy a fair shake. And I understand he had a couple receivers out. But just the decision-making is where I make a lot of my decisions when I look at a quarterback and if he's good enough or not. But, Coach, no surprise here. Running backs, Najee Harris at Alabama. Even the guy a lot of people forget about. And this is where I think this will be interesting with Mike Leach and squad. They have Kylan Hill. This kid is he's the real deal. Coming back at the running back position for him, I think will help that offense when they already have KJ Costello. But people forget about Kylan Hill. Look, Leach doesn't have the guys necessarily that he may want. But, Coach, he's got some talented players at Mississippi State, and I think offensively this is going to be a team that when you talk about, you see the respect that Kylan Hill gets right here from Mississippi State on that first team. Mississippi State is going to be a team to look out for.
I agree. We've said that continuously, and we'll I'm sure have a chance during the season. Maybe not to say I told you so, but to say that we did. I have a feeling this might happen. Now, I agree with you on Hill. I think Hill's a fine back, but I think they've got the top back right in Harris at Alabama. So from there, though, there are going to be some other. Keep in mind, there will be some other outstanding backs in the SEC. That's almost a part of the DNA of the SEC.
Yeah, absolutely, and we forget, too, how good the running backs have been at Arkansas. Of course, you don't look at Arkansas right now because of their record they've had. They have a running back with the name of Rakeem Boyd. Keep your eye on him. I haven't looked down this list completely yet. I'm sure he's on here somewhere. He should be, regardless. But, Coach, wide receivers here, Jamar Chase from LSU. We saw how great he was. Once again, another guy that's predicted to go in the first round. I can't imagine he wouldn't. Devonta Smith at Alabama is the other receiver on this list. And then rounding out the receiving core, the tight end position, Kyle Pitts from Florida. Coach Kyle Pitts, I just want to say a couple things about him. This is a guy that I think is going to be the big difference maker. Kyle Pitts is a guy that is extremely talented, very athletic, can do a little bit of everything here. And I'm not comparing him when I say this. I want to make this clear. I'm not comparing him to a Gronkowski, but you have a quarterback in Trask that is now, this is his second year, his first true year as the starter, as we remember Felipe Franks getting injured last year. But he has got the reins now, and with the talent that Florida has and the depth they have at the running back position, I think that Kyle Pitts is going to be the difference maker. And this kid will, I'll tell you, not only have a great year this year in college, I think he'll go on to have a pretty good NFL career as well, just because of the makeup. You talk about intangibles all the time, that this kid can block, this kid can run, this kid can go up and get the ball as well. You can utilize him in any kind of position. I just think he is going to be the difference maker that puts Florida over the top this year.
Well, you could certainly be right there, and he's going to be used quite a bit in that offense down there. I think that's part of their offensive game planning. And, he's surrounded by some pretty good talent and a good quarterback. So that certainly gives him a head up. And I agree with you about, the Chase at LSU. I think I think he's the most outstanding returning receiver in the SEC. Now we'll find out fairly quick what the drop off. There'll be some drop off from Joe Burrow. I don't think it'll be drastic because I think the other kid's going to do a good job. But there will be some some drop off, and we'll see how Chase handles that. But he's a good guy, speed, catch the football, run after the catch, great hands. He's got it all.
Yeah, it's going to be tough for him to repeat. And of course, with the quarterback situation, we're not sure what's going to happen. But obviously, Coach, the special season they had last year, wouldn't expect something like that again. But Jamar Chase, just for some people that don't know, this young man had 84 receptions last year for almost 1,800 yards and 20 touchdowns, and averaged over 20 yards a catch. That's insane numbers. And I know, you talk about Joe Burrow. You see part of the reason they had the success they had last year. But, Coach, look, I do want to mention the offensive line on the first team here. A young man from right in our own backyard at Booker T. Washington High School, Alex Leatherwood from the University of Alabama. Getting to watch and call his games when he was, in high school. What a fantastic young man. This guy, I believe, he has the potential to be a superstar in the NFL. And to watch him grow and to watch him learn and continue to get better and to go back to Alabama when he could have left early, but he goes back to Alabama. I think Alex Leatherwood is a guy that people need to keep their eye on, especially in our backyard of Pensacola right here.
Oh, I couldn't agree with you more. I think it's I think he's got a tremendous future, and I was really, really happy that he went back to Alabama and will play this year in college. That'll give him a heads up on next year's draft. Believe me, it will, and be interesting to see where he goes there. But he's an outstanding football player. Glad to see him getting the recognition that he deserves too.
Yeah, then on the defensive side, real quick, rounding this out. Look, Dylan Moses, a linebacker, doesn't surprise anybody from Alabama. I think he is the guy that, of course, got injured last year that will be the difference maker in that Alabama front seven. Will be able to lead that team. He's the quarterback of that defense, remember, and they were missing that last year. KJ Britt, another guy with Auburn. I have a lot of Auburn ties here with the other side of the family, Coach. KJ Britt's a fantastic athlete. Derek Stingley Jr. is the guy as a freshman last year that struggled a little bit, starting out. Got his feet wet, and then got better as the season progressed. This guy is the real deal, playing corner right there for LSU, alongside Patrick Surtain at Alabama. And Richard LeCount at Georgia, I feel like this guy's been there for 16 years. I feel like I've said his name a million times. But nonetheless, Coach, looking at the second team real quick before we go to break here, Kyle Trask is the quarterback. I think we both talked about that already. I believe he should be a first-team guy. Well, here we go. Rakeem Boyd, second-team All-SEC running back right here from Arkansas. Isaiah Spiller, Texas A&M, the running back there as well. A Florida guy, a couple Florida guys. When you look at Kadarius Toney, look, he's listed as an athlete pretty much right here, Coach. Kadarius Toney, getting to see him in high school when he was at Blount High School in Mobile. He was a quarterback, and that team was fantastic. But just how special of an athlete he is. And once again, being listed as an athlete, I think is important because this young man can do everything, and that's another guy. We talk about, you mentioned plenty of times the talent that Florida has coming back. Kadarius Toney, he has now got his opportunity to be one of those guys, one of the go-to guys because of all the draft picks that they had this year at the wide receiver position. And, Coach, the last one I will mention is Jalen Waddle at Alabama. We talk about Devonta Smith as a first team, Jalen Waddle as second team, which is, again, we have to remember, Jalen Waddle and Devonta Smith, they're both guys that are predicted to go in the first round. And you know what? When I look at this, Coach, I don't see him on the list. I'm going through the third-team quarterback, I will say, is Bo Nix on here. And then the fourth-team quarterback is Kellen Mond, a guy that I will tell you this. We've talked about him a lot. But because of guys like Devonta Smith and Jalen Waddle, look out for Mac Jones. This is a guy that I think, Coach, when we talk about a sleeper pick, I don't think it's a sleeper pick, in all honesty. I just don't think he's gotten the respect that he's deserved yet. But this is a guy that I will say look out for this year.
Couldn't agree with you more. He's a good quarterback. He's going to be surrounded by an awful lot of talent. Look at those two receivers. Both receivers will probably go in the first round next year. That's projected at this point. And then he's got people like that offensive line, Alex Leatherwood, and I think two others coming back. He's got a great coaching staff. They're going to be prepared every week. How could you not think that he's going to do a good job? When he went in and now the experience of having played quite a bit last year and doing a heck of a job in some big ball games. So, yes, I could agree with you more. And, in fact, I wouldn't be surprised if he's not the talk of the SEC.
Yeah, you're talking about the other two guys. Evan Neal, of course, is on this list as well, the offensive line position, and Deontay Brown. Just superstars right there that he is going to be able to throw behind with the talent that they're going to have. And we know the defense is going to be better. They have their people back, of course, barring injuries, but they have gotten better, and those young guys have gotten some more playing time. We just know how good this Alabama team can be. So, Coach, that it's an interesting list nonetheless, but Athlon Sports, if you haven't gotten a chance, go pick it up. It's right there on the shelves now. It's always a good pickup for every sports fan regardless. But, Coach, we got to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk a little bit about the ACC, some of the power rankings coming out of here. Interesting to get your take. I think we know the team that's at the top, no surprise. But the teams, 2 through 5 may surprise you a little bit, and we'll talk more about Devonta Freeman trying to reach out to possibly be a Super Bowl winner. All that and more when we come back right here on Talk Football with Coach K on ESPN Pensacola.
I'm attorney Stephen Luongo with Levin, Papantonio, Thomas, Mitchell, Rafferty, and Proctor in Pensacola, Florida. Distracted driving is a dangerous epidemic on America's roadways. In 2016 alone, over 3,000 people were killed in motor vehicle crashes involving distracted drivers. This according to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. For more information, please visit us today online at levinlaw.com. Please be safe on the roadways. Stop the text, stop the wrecks.
When you're looking for a great deal on a reliable new or certified pre-owned vehicle, you can't beat Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola. Bob Tyler Toyota has the best selection in town at incredible low prices. You can check out their amazing inventory from Camrys to Tundra trucks to 4Runners. It's all at Bob Tyler Toyota, and you can find it online at bobtylertoyota.com. Also score a touchdown this football season with the car of your dreams. Again, it's only at Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola.
Hello, sports fans. Miles Bentley here, General Manager at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram in Pensacola. Growing up, I always loved sports. Nothing but net, out of the park, through the uprights. Sink the puck Bentley, that was me. But my love of the game couldn't beat my love for Pensacola and helping folks get on the road of dreams in a new Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Sure, I never went to the big leagues in sport, but we're all pro here at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Proud to be in Pensacola. Hello, sports fans. Miles Bentley here, General Manager at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram in Pensacola. Growing up, I always loved sports. Nothing but net, out of the park, through the uprights. Sink the puck Bentley, that was me. But my love of the game couldn't beat my love for Pensacola and helping folks get on the road of dreams in a new Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Sure, I never went to the big leagues in sport, but we're all pro here at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Proud to be in Pensacola.
JP here. At ESPN Pensacola, we are hometown proud. Like the greatest pound-for-pound boxer of all time, Roy Jones Jr.
Three-time light heavyweight world champion and former heavyweight champion of the world, future Hall of Fame legend, Roy Jones Jr.
What up? This is your boy Roy Jones Jr. and you're listening to ESPN Pensacola.
Hi, I'm Danica Patrick. Watching my nieces grow, play, and learn is amazing, but not every child gets to be carefree. 1 in 6 kids in the U.S. are hungry. This breaks my heart, and it's something that Feeding America is working to change. Each year, the Feeding America network of food banks rescues billions of pounds of good food that would have gone to waste and gives it to families in need. To help, visit feedingamerica.org.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Hey, this is Chad Brillante from the Afternoon Sports Drive, and you're listening to Talk Football with Coach K on ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
Back to Talk Football with Coach K. JP here with you alongside former NFL head coach Kay Stevenson on this Friday afternoon. Hope you're doing well. Things are opening back up. Stay safe out there. We're talking some football with you, talking some ACC. And, Coach, the ACC, I think, is obvious at this point. When you talk about the power rankings here by 247 Sports, some good stuff here. But Clemson, obvious choice. I mean, is there any argument that Clemson, any reason to believe that Clemson won't repeat as the ACC champ this year?
None. NONE.
I think, Coach, that is the best analysis. Really, that's all you need to say when you talk about Clemson and how good they are. But I think it's important just to see this list.
We should never. And never's a long time, but we really should not be that emphatic about any team because you never know what could happen. And God forbid a rash of injuries, weather could play a role in something that could be a huge upset. You never know. Something like that could happen, but it would take something very unusual to keep Clemson from winning the ACC and running away with it, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I agree. Coach, I fully understand what you're saying. Never say never just because you never know what's going to happen. But with Trevor Lawrence coming back, Travis Etienne, the offensive line is going to be pretty good. The guys they have coming back on defense, as well as just continuing to revamp, they believe their defensive line is going to be better than it's ever, even going back to those national championship teams, which is special because those guys in the NFL right now. And then you talk about, it's unfortunate for Justin Ross, what happened to him. Of course, Justin Ross posted, he was going to surprise everybody with a comeback, not saying this year, but just overall, with that congenital fusion in his neck right there. We hope everything goes well with this surgery. But Amari Rodgers, they have tons of talent coming back. And I think, once again, this list speaks to the problem in the ACC is the depth. And it's starting to get a little bit better. When you look at teams like Florida State and what they're doing as well, Miami is hoping to start to build to come back to the old days. We'll see. But, Coach, number 2 on this list is Virginia Tech. And, look, a team – after going 8-5 last year, of course, losing to Kentucky in the Belk Bowl, which was interesting enough. Justin Fuente, they come back as a coastal favorite. They're ranked 18th overall. And once again, I say it's the drop-off here. You go from Clemson at number 1 to 18 with Virginia Tech. This is a team that is projected to have 9 wins this year. But once again, this is a team, they've got a lot of talent coming back. They're always gritty. But, Coach, when you look at Virginia Tech, there's a couple other teams here. Does Virginia Tech, would you think that they would be your second overall team in the ACC?
Interesting. That's a great question, JP. I think Virginia Tech is a tournament football team, and they're always going to be tough, especially playing at home, and they play at home. But, I really think the surprise team in the ACC and the team that could end up being the second-best team in the ACC and really surprise some people is Florida State. I've got a lot of confidence in Norvell, and they have some talent. It depends on how they end up with a transition from one system, offensive system in particular, to another, with a short time to get it installed, and then melting that all that talent together. And as you know, just recently with transfers, they really, really helped their defense quite a bit, and that's extremely important, especially in college football. So look for FSU to really be a threat. Virginia Tech, I could see where Virginia Tech would be projected right now to be number 2 team in the ACC, but my pick would be Florida State.
Yeah, Coach, I agree. I think Florida State is a team you definitely look out for. I think Virginia Tech is the easy pick when you look at it, just because of who they are. There's not as many questions. You kind of know of where they're going to sit, where a team like Florida State, when you look at it on the outside, you go, yeah, right, this team's not going to compete for a couple years. But I think Norvell will surprise a lot of people. He's got a lot of good things going on there. He's building a strong squad. Coach, when you look at Louisville, they're number 3 on this list, and Louisville's a little bit of a quiet team. Scott Satterfield, I think, has done a pretty good job, especially last year. This is a team that, remember, after Lamar Jackson left, they had a terrible season. Even Lamar there, they struggled some. But this is a team that is sneaky. They beat Mississippi State in the Music City Bowl. I thought they had a strong showing in the Music City Bowl as well. Scott Satterfield bringing back most of his starters here. I think when you look at this team, it's going to be tough to the schedule they play. They play Kentucky's and teams like that as well. But, Coach, I do like the Louisville squad. I don't know if I would put them number 3 here, but there would be another team on my list to look out for.
Yeah, I don't like them number 3, to be honest with you. I think they made some improvement. I don't put much credence in beating Mississippi State at the end of the year in the bowl for this reason. Mississippi State was extremely lucky to get there, and Mississippi State was a very poorly coached football team. So when you add all that together, it's not surprising that Mississippi State would be beaten by pretty much anybody in that bowl game. But anyway, I still would not put Louisville third. I think we're still talking about Virginia Tech, or Clemson, Virginia Tech, Clemson, Florida State, Virginia Tech in there rather than Louisville.
Yeah, that's a great point, and it's even more so why I'm worried about this year, my Oregon Ducks coach, because the head coach of Mississippi State last year, Joe Moorhead, is now our offensive coordinator. But you know what? Maybe that's a good fit for him. It's some guys aren't meant to be head coaches, and they'll be great coordinators. So there we go. I'm going to keep that positivity rolling right along into this year. But, Coach, number 4 on this list is a team we just talked about, Florida State. Once again, I think there's a lot of skepticism, but I think with what you've said, with what Norvell has been able to put together, this team is going to be a dangerous team. Now, remember, they start the season on the road. They got to go to Boise State. This is going to be interesting because the whole thing with Taggart last year, of course, Boise State had to come here, and they ended up playing at home. They were supposed to play as a game, I believe, in Jacksonville. And this team just did not look very well. We know that with Taggart. But anyway, the Taggart era is over. But I think it's always going to be tough, especially we'll see what happens. But right now, like I said, scheduled to play Boise State on the road, on the blue turf. That can be a tremendous statement game for Mike Norvell and that squad to start off the season.
Yeah. Well, I think we're just going to have to look at how they're going to progress after the first couple of ball games, 2 or 3 ball games. I think there is where you're going to see start making a difference with that football team, but just because of the lack of time that they're going to have to be ready. They missed a full spring. Anytime you got a changeover like that, you put a lot of credence in how you handle and how you progress in the spring. And then during the summer, where you really solidify the conditioning of your football team to come back and some of the camaraderie that you can build during the summer, that's sometimes overlooked. They've had none of that. So it's going to be very important to see how they do early on and in preparation for the season, and then how they do in the first 2 or 3 ball games.
Yeah, I agree. I think that it will take some time, but if they can somehow pull out that game, that'd be a really tough game because we know Boise State's always going to be good. They're always good on the blue turf. That'd be a big jump for them. But, Coach, the number 5 team here before we go to break, North Carolina Tar Heels. Listen, Mac Brown, this is the team. This is my team to watch this year that I'm really intrigued with on the way that he's built this team. I thought Mac Brown was done. When he went to North Carolina, I said, okay, we'll see what happens. I thought he did a really good job turning the team around. Now, they're not elite yet. I'm not saying that at all. But with the recruiting, they've done such a good job there. And, battling out Clemson for some recruits, getting some guys to stay. I think it's important for guys to stay in their home state, to be able to keep those guys that are in your area with you. I think that's a tremendous thing when you talk about recruiting. They also have Sam Howell, a young man to look out for. This Sam Howell did a fantastic job as a freshman quarterback last year, throwing for over 3,600 yards, 38 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. Just a fantastic job what they're doing. Michael Carter, the young man, we watched him right here at Navarre High School for so many years, break state records. It was so much fun to watch. He's coming back this year, was over 1,000-yard rusher for him last year. Got a lot of talent, Coach. North Carolina, that's the other team. I mean, they have to compete with Clemson in that division, but I think this is a team that we should keep our eyes on.
I couldn't agree with you more. I really like North Carolina. In fact, I'm not so sure. I like North Carolina better than Louisville. overall in the ACC. I like them as a better football team. That I think they could very easily surpass Virginia Tech. Virginia's another good football team over there, but I don't think they're in the category, certainly of the upper echelon of the league. But North Carolina could be. North Carolina, with Mike Brown, he did a heck of a job over there, and just expect them to do another great job this year. Plus, they have the continuity carryover from last year, and momentum. Momentum is very important. Yeah, I agree with you. I like North Carolina very much.
Yeah, and remember, they almost upset Clemson last year. They were on the cusp, but it didn't happen. And that's the games you got to win. When you have your opportunities, you got to take advantage. But nonetheless, North Carolina, definitely a team to look out for. Listen, Coach, we got to go to our final break. When we come back, we're going to talk a little bit about the Dak Prescott situation as well. We haven't heard from him in a while. Is that a good or a bad thing? And we'll talk about Devonta Freeman trying to maybe work his way to the Super Bowl hopeful Tampa Bay Buccaneers and Tom Brady. All that and more when we come back right here on Talk Football with Coach K on ESPN Pensacola.
I'm attorney Stephen Luongo with Levin, Papantonio, Thomas, Mitchell, Rafferty, and Proctor in Pensacola, Florida. Distracted driving is a dangerous epidemic on America's roadways. In 2016 alone, over 3,000 people were killed in motor vehicle crashes involving distracted drivers. This according to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. For more information, please visit us today online at levinlaw.com. Please be safe on the roadways. Stop the text, stop the wrecks.
When you're looking for a great deal on a reliable new or certified pre-owned vehicle, you can't beat Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola. Bob Tyler Toyota has the best selection in town at incredible low prices. You can check out their amazing inventory from Camrys to Tundra trucks to 4Runners. It's all at Bob Tyler Toyota, and you can find it online at bobtylertoyota.com. Also score a touchdown this football season with the car of your dreams. Again, it's only at Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola.
There's only one place in town for the lowest prices and greatest selection of firearms. Pensacola Indoor Shooting Range. Visit our fully stocked Gun Pro Shop for new and used firearms, accessories, and ammunition. Check out the Indoor Shooting Range. We offer rentals on guns, including fully automatic machine guns and silencers. Ladies, this is the safe place to learn how to use a gun. Plus, Tuesday is Ladies' Day. Women shoot for half price all day. The best place to buy firearms in Pensacola. Pensacola Indoor Shooting Range. Highway 29 in Car City.
The thought of my sons growing up without me inspired me to quit smoking.
I talked to my doctors, and then I threw away all my cigarettes, ashtrays, and lighters.
I started exercising instead of smoking.
Staying away from alcohol when I was first quitting was key.
I kept on trying, learned something each time.
Do whatever it takes.
No matter how many times it takes.
We did it, so can you.
For free help, call 1-800-QUIT-NOW. A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and CDC.
JP here. Everyone here at ESPN Pensacola wants to send a shout out to our first responders and healthcare workers at this time. We know it's tough, but we appreciate the work you put day in and day out. We also want to thank our essential workers out there for helping all of us continue to live our lives as normal as possible in this time. For our community, keep rocking it. We are going to get through this. Remember, we were named the #1 strong town in America. That wasn't by accident. We have seen so many people step up and do their part, and we thank all those people for their efforts. We will be stronger for this, and together, we will beat COVID-19.
For 30 years, Thomas Home Corporation has proudly helped families build their ultimate dream home. If you're looking to customize your home, we are currently building throughout Escambia, Santa Rosa, and Okaloosa counties, and we can either build your home in one of our subdivisions or even on your own lot. Our team works with you to guide you through each step and decision in the process. Builder of the 2019 American Dream Home and Builder of the Year, Thomas Homes Corporation has built quality homes at an affordable price since 1990. Begin the process today and become one of our proud homeowners at thomashomescorp.com.
The teams, the games, the fans, the local talk. This is ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
Welcome back to Talk Football with Coach K. JP here with you, alongside former NFL head coach Kay Stevenson. On this Friday afternoon, hope you're doing well. Weekend's right around the corner. Final segment. Got a couple minutes here, of course. Talking some more football. Coach, look, we haven't talked about him in a while. Dak Prescott. Dallas Cowboys situation, we know Andy Dalton's there. They signed him as a backup, but you know what? That reality of a backup may be more than that. My question is, we haven't heard a whole lot about this going on. Look, I know he has a little over a month to still sign, whether he signs a long-term deal or whether he signs to play on the tag or he decides not to sign at all, which everybody is saying he's going to do. He's going to sign to some extent. But, Coach, the longer this goes on, should we start believing more that maybe the long-term deal is not going to get done, or does that matter right now?
I told you what my feeling is, and it hasn't changed. I think Dallas is not convinced. Dallas meaning Jones and Son and whomever. They're not convinced that he is the long-term answer at quarterback, and that they would prefer him to take rather than them be obligated for 4 or 5 years out, that he take the franchise tag offer and play 1 year, and then they could decide based on how they do this year and other circumstances unknown at this point, which I won't elaborate on right now. But then they can decide what they want to do without the long-term commitment.
Yeah, and Coach, I mean, I know we've talked about it a little bit, but are you still in belief that even if Dak Prescott is not with the team, that this team with Andy Dalton can go to the playoffs?
Oh yeah, they're a good football team, and in fact, I think Andy Dalton might be who they really want to take the reins at some point. So anyway, don't be surprised. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, I agree, Coach. And look, the final, I know we got about a minute left here, Coach, but Devonta Freeman reaching out. Now, Bruce Arians came out yesterday and said, listen, look, it's too rich for our blood to be able to get Devonta Freeman. He's turned down deals that are about $4.8 million, and that's pretty much all the cap space that the Buccaneers have, is their second fewest in the NFL. Coach, do you see Devonta Freeman saying, hey, look, talk to me, reach out to me directly, let's make this work? Is this more along the lines of Devonta Freeman saying, or wanting to play for a Super Bowl team?
I think it certainly has a lot to do with it. I think he certainly knows that this is an opportunity for him to play with a very, very good football team, of one that would, people aren't dumb, and they know that this Tampa team is loaded. They got the best player in football now playing for them, and I think he sees that this could be a heck of an opportunity for him. Absolutely. And I think he'd sign with him for the best deal he could make.
I agree. I think it's more along the lines of, you know what, he sees that the only question mark is that running back position with Ronald Jones. And so this is an opportunity for him to go prove himself, because, if you win the Super Bowl, you get paid like you won the Super Bowl as well. But, Coach, that sound means time for us to go. As usual, we have so much we didn't get to today. But you know what? We'll try it again Monday. Coach, it's been a pleasure.
It has been, and have a good one this weekend, and we'll see you on Monday.
Absolutely, Coach. Appreciate it. You have a great one as well. And to all of our listeners out there, hope you have a great weekend. Stay safe. I know the bars and everything are opening back up. Continue to practice social distancing, keeping your eye on what's going on in the Gulf as well with the, it's a tropical depression right now, but just keep your eye on it. Stay safe, everybody. We'll be back Monday, same time, talking some football with you on Talk Football with Coach K right here on ESPN Pensacola.
Decided they will not take another pay cut. They've, quote, resoundingly rejected the league's plan to begin the season, according to a statement Thursday from Union Executive Director Tony Clark. The statement came after a 2-hour conference call of the association's executive board and several other Major League Baseball Players Association player leaders, and one day after the league rejected a proposal from the players to play 114 games with full prorated salaries. The league wants a drastically reduced schedule in order for owners to be able to pay players on a per-game basis. This is all coming down to the fact that every time they play with nobody in the stands, I should say, the teams will lose more money. So in an effort to try and lose less The owners want to play less games, but the players don't want to put themselves at risk for injury or COVID-19 for a small fraction of what they'd usually earn. In the meantime, you can go to ESPN.com, where right now on the front page, there's an incredibly good article written by Jeff Passan that breaks down the actual numbers that this is coming down to. So it shows you, in the grand scheme of a multi-billion-dollar business, what they're really fighting over. That's the headlines that you need. First Take, Your Take. We're letting you guys chime in. All of this conversation about Drew Brees, the conversation about the NFL's conversations they're having about social justice, and frankly, the openness of football players and their voice right now that we haven't seen necessarily in the past. Many of you are chiming in, so we want to let that continue. We're going to let that continue. 888-SAY-ESPN